or being anxious? Nothing. It doesn't get better. You don't feel better. You can't solve a problem or fix an issue. It does absolutely nothing except make you feel worse on the inside. There is no practical gain. And as Gemma mentioned it in the video, you have to pray and give it to God to be able to let it go. God is the only one that can transform. You can do some things practically, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. You have to give it to God. God can step into this kind of situation and make all the difference. You see, right now, there's a couple of things that I could be worried about. I could really be anxious about. I mean, number one is, my kid could end up eating Vegemite. That could really freak me out. That could be a worry. That could be a legitimate worry for me. Well, not really. But, for example, my wife finishing work, and me being the sole provider and not having a full-time job right now. That could be an issue. It could be a big issue. An issue that people so focus on. And it could be a massive issue for me, to the point where it just invades my thoughts every day. But you know what? Ever since I completely gave my heart to God when I was 18, so 13 years ago, ever since then, God has always provided for me. Always. Even when I was 19 years old, yeah. Even when I was 19 years old, clap. You've got to clap for God, clap for God. When I was 19 years old and I didn't have a job and I had 10 bucks left in my bank account, I got a job that day. God has always provided for me. Even when the figures don't work out and it doesn't make sense that we can afford something that we're doing, God provides. When you trust in His character, when you trust in His provision, He actually comes through. He really, really does. But you've got to have a faith in Him, and you've got to trust in Him. Because it actually says in this one area, God says, don't test me. But in this one area, I'm asking you to test me. Test me in this. Come to me and say, I need this. Financially, if you give, and see, for me, when I was 18, I made that decision. Okay, God, I'm going to give 10% to you all the time. And that was just my decision. I decided I want to give some back to you, God. Your word says it, and it kind of makes sense. So I'm going to give it to you. And since then, I've never fallen short. So I know God's going to provide for me. In the last 6 months of this year, next year, something will come up. I guarantee you. And maybe the next time I'm up here, I'll be able to tell you exactly what has come up. Because I know God's going to come through. So that could be such an anxious situation for me. But it's not. I can honestly say I haven't lost 1 minute of sleep over it. So, what can you do about anxiety? I want to give you a couple of practical things that you can do to deal with anxiety that you're focusing on, or that you might be struggling with. Number one, be realistic in Christ. Be realistic. Challenge your perceptions. I failed a test. I suck. I'm never going to be able to pass a test again. Well, hang on a second. If I'm realistic, really, just because I failed one test, doesn't mean I'm going to fail every other test for the rest of my life. Just because I failed one test in maths, doesn't mean I'm going to suck at maths for the rest of my life. If you're realistic and you challenge your perspectives, you're able to turn those thoughts around. You see, our perceptions can be wrong. I was sitting in the toilet the other week. That's weird. I'm going somewhere, I promise. I was sitting in the toilet, and it's quite a small toilet, and there's like a window outside, not outside the toilet, but it's right where the bathroom is. So there's this light shining in. And I look under the door and you can see that light. It looked like, you know when you look under a door and someone walks past, you can see the legs walking past, you can see the light change. The light changed. And I was home alone. I could swear that the light changed. I'm like, what is that? What is going on? And it took me, it happened a couple of times, it took me those couple of times to realize that the light in the toilet was flickering. And because the light in the toilet was flickering, it was changing the look of the light under the door. See, my perception was that there was someone outside the door, but there wasn't. The truth was that the light was flickering. And so when I realized that, I was like, oh, okay. And that can be the same with our own perceptions, with anything. And when I was sitting there, I actually started thinking, and this is, I'm dead honest, I started thinking about toilets and how great they are. Because if you think about it, right, Adam and Eve didn't have any toilets. And they would have had to I mean, they poo too. They were perfect when they were born, when they were first made, but they had to poo. And then I thought, like, the poo, would it be perfect poo because they were perfect? But anyway, and on top of that, God had to show them how to do everything. So did he, like, this is how you poo? That's how my mind works. Sorry, it's a little bit weird sometimes, but I honestly have no... I will ask God, when I met God, did you show Adam and Eve how to poo? Because you have to, like, they were like, they were zombies. They didn't have any thought, they couldn't do anything. God had to show them everything. So, anyway, that was way off track. I might never come back. If I don't, that's probably why. Where am I? Perceptions, okay. So, your perceptions can be completely wrong. They can be completely off. Like mine were in the toilet with the flickering light. And the thing about perceptions is that you have to change the way that you think. Because it all starts with your thoughts. You know there's something called ants. Ants. There's something called ants. Automatic negative thoughts. This is a documented fact. I'm talking a medically documented fact. When you, every day, we have about 10,000 thoughts. 10,000 every single day. And of those thoughts, 80% of them are negative. 80%. We have to actually fight against those negative thoughts. It doesn't come naturally. The negative thoughts are automatic and they happen without us even knowing. So we have to fight against it. We have to change our thoughts. The thing about anxiety is that it's so wound up tight with negative thoughts. So you have to change that negative thought. Realize the perception is there, challenge it and change it and go, okay, consciously, I'm not going to think that anymore. No, I might do okay in the next test. I'm going to do my best and see what happens. So you have to challenge and change that negative thought. Replace the negative thought with a positive one. I might actually do okay. I'm going to see how this goes. Because those negative thoughts and anxious thoughts can become consuming. And it's all your life is about. Let's get these guys. Jen and Alistair are going to give me a hand for a second. Yeah, give me a hand. Woo! Yay, Jen. Yay, Alistair. Okay, now... the way this is going to work is these guys aren't going to say much at all. I am going to be Alistair's thoughts. I am your thoughts. So, at any point while I'm talking, while these guys are on stage, I am what's going on inside Alistair's mind. Okay? Alright. Go. Oh no. He didn't say hi. What's going on? Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe, oh no. Maybe that girl that I like, he likes her too. Oh no, he's never going to be my friend again. Or maybe he's going to turn the whole school against me. What if he turns the whole school against me? Then no one's going to like me. I'm going to have to leave the school. I'm going to go find another school and start all over again and find new friends and, you know what, I'm just going to quit school altogether. I can't handle this. Thanks, Alistair. Okay. You might go, whatever, but that's what can happen in our minds. We can start on one thought and it can just spiral out of control. And if you're honest with yourself, maybe sometimes that's actually what happens. You have to cut it off at the very start. And you know what? That happens sometimes. Jeff might have been thinking about something else and being in a completely different world. He might have had a bad day and someone just said something nasty and he's completely caught up in that. There can be a whole bunch of reasons why in that kind of situation, Jet didn't say hi to Alistair. But we automatically go, oh no, he hates me, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and the thoughts spiral out of control. So you have to stop it at the very start. Recognize the negative thoughts and change them. Okay, 2 more things, and then I'll finish up. So, be realistic in Christ, and the reason why I add Christ is because Christ is the one that can actually show you what the truth is. To be realistic, to change your perception to the truth about you even. How fantastic you are, how great you are. God has a plan for every single one of you. And yet sometimes we think that we're worthless. It's a lie. But be realistic in Christ. Let go in Christ. Some people need to have control. Everything is about control. I have to control everything in my life. I've got this, and if I can control them all, I'll be okay. But as soon as you lose control in one thing, one element, all of a sudden you start getting anxious. Oh no, what happens if, oh no, well, what if, and our minds just start going crazy. So you need to be able to let go of control in your life. That is a massive